Hi everybody, I know it's not my usual video type. It's not going to be as polished as the videos that I've been doing lately. However, this goes back to the original videos that I've been doing whenever I wanted to talk about something I felt was important. So you've probably seen this picture on social media if you follow a lot of more conservative type outlets or official army type stuff. You know, this is right here on Reddit of all places. This is on the Army subforum right here. There are recruiting and retention jokes abound. And everyone's assuming that this is going to be, you know, a signal that there's going to be a push for more war, that SHTF is around the corner, that something bad is about to go down because of other things. I'll get into that, but let's take a look at what this picture says really quick. Updated education requirements effective immediately. Individuals may enlist without a high school diploma or GED if they meet the following criteria. Regular Army only, must meet MOS qualifications, must be 18 years old at time of enlistment, must score a 50 or higher on the ASVAB, must ship during FY22. Per USA Rec message 22080. So, essentially, it sounds like they're taking almost anyone at this point. You don't even have to be a person who finished high school or got their GED. You can just go right to the recruiting office and sign up. Now, a lot of people on the prep forums are saying this is a sign that things are going to go down. And I can see how they can think that, especially when you combine it with this right here. It's been verified. This person from KSNT Topeka 27 News spoke with a U.S. Army recruiter in Topeka on Friday regarding the update. According to the recruiter, new applicants can enlist without a high school diploma or general education development. Yep, so it's for this year. Recruiting is terrible for this year. Additionally, they just released this a few days ago. The Army is now officially allowing more tattoos. So you can get them on your hands, you can have them on your neck, behind your ear, your face. It sounds like they're trying to get as many people as they can get. A lot of people are freaking out about that. Here's why you shouldn't necessarily freak out. And this next image, I don't think I have to explain too much what it refers to. I think we know what recruiting commercial this is. And if you think about it, it was a bad contrast with Russia's recruiting commercial. However, there are so many levels to go down the comparison between us and them and what they're facing right now, but we'll touch on it lightly here. This commercial really pushed a non-traditional family, a non-traditional soldier, and you know what? These commercials are not meant for the people who are going to be the real bullet slingers. I mean, a commercial does play into it, but then the baseline soldier, the person who doesn't need any motivation to get in there, they're not going to be swayed by this type of stuff. What we have seen in the last 2 years is that it's incredibly hard to retain and recruit people because of certain political and cultural movements that are going on. And it doesn't really matter what side of this you're on. It's impacting who stays in and who comes in through the door in the first place. You have a lot of people who aren't happy with the current leadership and don't want to serve underneath it, who aren't happy with certain requirements, who are not happy with the direction that the country is taking. And we should listen to all of those viewpoints. And this is why I think, from what I can see here, it's not that they're trying to develop this huge army in anticipation of a major military development. It's the equivalent of spamming out a job fair flyer to everyone in the neighborhood, whether they're 8 to 80. It doesn't matter. They're going to get one. And like I said, it's because it's very hard to recruit people who over the last 2 years have probably figured out what they wanted to do for work. They understand what direction they want to take their life in. There are incentives to go to school to find professional work, especially if you're talking about the trades. For the entire space of 2020, you had people who had nothing to do but to contemplate how they wanted their life to be. And recruiting was already a tough gig in the best of times, and it just got even harder considering that you have the direction that our country is headed in. You have the various conflicts that the world is engaged in. You have the American response to leaving Afghanistan. It's all not conducive to building a force that's high morale, that has a lot of trust and faith in their current leadership. And that's why I think that a lot of people who are taking these new developments and saying this is a sign that we're about to go to war with Russia or China, they need to take a step back and stop freaking the other people out, because there are other things at play too. You have information dropped off in the palm of your hand as it happens, when before lots of these news stories wouldn't have made it outside of the region or even local news. And now we're affected by everything that happens in towns we've never heard of before. That's just the current state of the world. What the Army's doing here, it seems, is trying to cast the widest net possible, because let's face it, when it comes to recruiting the bullet slingers, the pilots, the people who would traditionally be thought of as a good soldier, they don't need commercials to convince them to come in. They have usually a family tradition of serving in the military. They have a sense of duty of serving their people, serving their country. They're not signing up because of a 2-minute commercial. This commercial is geared towards your non-traditional soldier, because you're going to need to fill a lot of admin space. You're going to need to fill logistics, supply, maintenance. These are jobs that the Army is in desperate need of, especially when it comes to maintaining equipment, maintaining a force of this size. Look at all the vehicles that we left behind in Afghanistan. They're already falling apart in the Taliban's hands. It hasn't even been a full year, because they can't repair them, they can't maintain them. There is no logistical support. There is no know-how, really, to keep these more advanced weapons, vehicles, that sort of thing up to a working standard. And we need that. You know, I might have a bias towards being focused towards the skills related to combat arms, but never once did I think that the Army could solely run on just us, just what we do. There's always something else that needs to happen in the background in order for people in combat arms to do the duty that everyone thinks of when they hear soldier, and that's breaking the enemy. This is because the Army, because of different political and cultural issues, is in dire need of people. Could we say that we're trying to stave off some kind of retaliation from China or Russia? We can say that. It would be stupid to not prepare for any kind of military engagement. But if the Russians were not impressed with the way that the Chinese army performed when they did a joint exercise, then a invasion from the Chinese army is not going to be of concern as much as a Chinese economic response would be. And we saw that in the lockdowns of 2020. You just have to look at the shortages of medical supplies, of medication. I want you to really think about where our stuff comes from. We are their number one customer. They don't even need to fire a shot towards us for people to go out and say on social media and start whipping people up into a frenzy, saying this is a sign, there's going to be a push somewhere, there's a military action that's going to happen, potentially World War III is going to start. Don't freak out. Just relax. Make sure that your finances, your emergency food, all of that stuff is squared away. And I want to leave you with a single thought. You have to think about who is telling you these things, myself included. I have my biases. You have these people that try to sell you gold, for instance, and they keep harping on about how gold is going to be the new currency standard and your dollars will be worthless, but you could only ever pay them in dollars. You can't trade them a set amount of silver for their gold. They want those dollars. The dollars were going to be worthless in relation to gold, then what the hell do they want that for? So, same thing. That's just my random thought about all of this, how there is no overarching theme here. It's literally the Army trying to scrape the bottom of the paint can, and they're trying to get who they can get. because there is a problem as far as numbers go. So I hope that helped reassure you a little. If you were a little worried about why is the Army doing this, you just have to kind of reframe a few things and think about it a little and approach it from different angles. And you should select the simplest choice, because usually that choice is going to be the closest to reality. That's it for this week. Until the next video, be good, stay safe, and have a good one.